Hi, I'm one of the co-hosts for today. My background was actually helping to run growth for different companies, both full-time and as a consultant.
Hey guys, my name's Skylar Logston. I'm one of the co-hosts for today as well. I was the first employee at Tatari 5 years ago. I've had a few different roles. I was the head of sales and I did media buying for a couple of years. And I'm back as the head of sales as of about 2 years ago.
Hi guys, my name is Junior. I'm a New York native. My background is mainly in programmatic across multiple channels outside of paid social and paid search, although I have experience in those channels as well. I joined Resident almost about 3 years ago. Since then, I kind of been heading their marketing mix diversification.
I'm Dan. I'm based in San Francisco. I head up marketing for Lemonade Health. I am a recent join to Lemonade Health. I joined back in June. And since then, starting in July, we've launched TV, which is part of our focus on diversifying our marketing channels.
My name is Aaron Polander. I am Vice President of Marketing at GovX. We are an online-only retailer, and we cater exclusively to those who have previously served or currently serve in the military, law enforcement, firefighting, other first responder and government agency type communities. TV is a new addition for us, much like Dan just said. We launched in May, and these last 4 months have been incredible for us. So happy to share some of those learnings today.
Awesome. Cool. So the first question is, how do you measure TV's effectiveness? Aaron, why don't you kick it off for us and answer that first one for us?
Sure. We are going after a pretty targeted subset of overall TV viewers, but and our goal with TV has been very top of the funnel. How do we get more people to the site to sign up and join govx.com? With Tatari, part of the reason we've been so happy with this partnership to date is that you actually have a view into when a commercial ran. Did somebody come to the site after seeing that commercial? What did it cost to get them to the site? And ultimately, how much did it cost for them to join the site? So we have that CPA view from TV that before Tatari, we really just didn't think that was going to be all that possible. While we rely on the Tatari dashboard and data extensively, we're looking also at just what's the overall impact to the sheer volume of people that have joined the site in a given day, week, month. What is our CPA looking like now that, before and after TV? Blended across all channel expenses. What's been great with Tatari is that not only has the sheer scale of our new member acquisition gone up with Tatari's help, those members we're targeting the right folks, because not only are they signing up, but they're also purchasing with us faster than previous cohorts did. So that's been the supporting kind of justification for our spend and given us the confidence to really kind of push things moving forward.
I kind of view it in a phased approach. The three phases at a high level are cost per visit, cost per acquisition, and then ROI. So out of the gate, we set a cost per visit goal based on some historical data we had, some averages for visitors that we have. And then my preference, which is also how Tatari does it, is to do a bottoms up incremental approach. So we've got our baseline of visitors, and we measure when TV spots air, and we can identify the lift in visitor as a result of that particular spot. So at the end of the month, they should be able to say, hey, I saw this much more in terms of visitor volume, and validate or corroborate what I'm seeing from the bottoms up approach. Once you have volume on the visitor side, I think you will generate enough volume to start doing the same sort of incrementality approaches for conversions as well.
And we have several approaches for this in particularly. One of them is essentially taking the log level files and trying to essentially recreate path to conversions for existing order IDs when we know those spots air, and then look at the immediate response in that 5-minute window. And then the last one, which I think is the most effective, is leveraging smart TV data. So one of the things that really helped in the decision making of choosing Tatari was the fact that once we reached enough scale, we were able to essentially get back some sort of session IDs. You can, to some degree of certainty, pinpoint the households that have been exposed to those TV ads, and essentially then take and those session IDs of those users at the household level that you've identified, that then picked up the phone and went to your site within that immediate window and attributed back to that spot. So that's been kind of the most effective approach, and one that I feel like this is where TV eventually is going to move when it comes to like the future of TV.
We don't have attribution perfected by any means. We are very happy with what we've seen from the Tatari attribution compared to what we can observe internally. If we look at just the analytics data, the TV has impacted our direct channel. Obviously, that's not where it's where it has to come through for us. But we're able to triangulate around Tatari data, specific cohorts of people that are starting a registration with us or completing a registration with us on a given day, and tracking those cohorts across the board through the life of their membership with us and their purchasing behavior with us. So we have pretty detailed metrics around specific cohorts for how they're behaving once they start our funnel. TV has lifted the tide for us dramatically. It's not like an incremental, it's not just a small, barely noticeable bump. We can pretty clearly identify when TV happened and what impact that had from a before and after standpoint.
That's really great, especially since you have everyone can't use your product, right? You have to specifically be within a certain bucket of people.
Yeah, I give Tatari credit for a lot of that because they've helped guide the network and program mix as we've tested through these first 4 months. So we've clearly identified the right places to reach our audience in a way that we maybe didn't think was possible on TV prior to this.
We're seeing slight improvements in conversion rate and LTV for the cohorts that are heavily driven by TV. And we think it's because relative to other ways we get organic or brand traffic, the TV brand traffic comes with a little bit more education rather than a looky-loo who clicked on us via an organic ad or an organic placement, I should say, or ended up on our blog. We end up with higher converting organic traffic when we believe they were heavily driven by TV.
So how should brands think about the mix between linear and OTT, both when starting out on TV and as they scale?
I view them as completely independent channels to be operated independently. And I think the reason is they perform differently. They have different tracking capabilities. The device types that people are on are often different. Even the locations where they are could be different. If a new brand is trying to figure out the mix, I think if they had an unlimited spend at a particular ROI, then max spend on both until you have diminishing returns below your ROI target. I would certainly treat them differently and not lump them together.
We believe that as we increase our budget and we move more towards streaming, that we'll be reaching an incremental group of people, that there's not a lot of crossover between the two. So a lot of what we'll be starting with is tackling streaming services that were winners for us on linear. And that'll be kind of the next approach.
As brands are looking to start out in TV or scale TV, if they've already been spending for some time, they should really think about OTT. And I would add to that also connected TV. For me, I think it's just really understanding the actual reach between the two. And it does help to have it all in-house, but with the limitations and measurements on OTT and CTV, it's good to have a partner that will give you the transparency that you need to fully measure that properly. An independent partner like Tatari, they are more nimble, more agile. They are very data-driven and are trying to win the race versus some of these companies that are going for reach. And it's just having the data to build the attribution and understanding that when looking at linear with connected TV and OTT together.
Aaron, come to you. What is the minimum spend needed to see if TV as a channel will be successful for your company?
The actual buy itself, we started out, I don't know how specific I want to get, but we started out with low six figures in a month, I would say. And we've roughly doubled that as the months have gone on. We spent at basically what we thought was the minimum to get the data that we needed early on. And the success that came from that gave us the confidence to ramp.
Is to always think about your overall marketing mix. If you spend enough money, and I think I talked about this earlier, if you spend a significant amount of money per day or per month, whatever it is, you want to make sure that your TV can actually make a dent on your baseline, so that you don't want to just throw money at TV and then feel like you didn't learn anything from it.
How long does this channel take to perform?
My general answer is faster than you think. I think for me, what was important launching TV was identifying that you don't have to achieve success to be able to determine if you have found a successful channel. In our case, we saw our cost per visit improve 40% from month 1 to month 2, just through optimization of creative and network rotation. So I would say we, after 2 weeks, knew that it was going to be a performer. And after 4 weeks, we were really, really close to our performance metric. And now we're into our 3rd month and we're beating our cost per visit metric.
But for us, I mean, literally day one, the notice, the change in scale for us in terms of number of people starting the registration funnel and signing up to join our site, it was not a question. In terms of performance and like getting to the exact KPIs we want, we spent that first month really optimizing and finding the best pockets, so that once we went into month 2, we were much better. We were in a better position to succeed and hit the KPIs we wanted.
Awesome. Cool. So how can I reduce the risk of wasting money on TV?
I think part of it is partnering with somebody that you trust and believe in what they're, at least in our case, educating us on and guiding us through at the same time. And testing. I mean, the testing, the plans that we've worked together for each week have been thorough and logical, and that's the biggest thing of not wasting money, is that we have data to back up what's working and trying to double down in those areas.
I think I would add to that, as well as like an order of priority for me, just because we've tested TV a few times here. It really came down to, one, finding a partner that you can trust. And we vetted many, many agencies and vendors and dissected pretty much their pitch. And Skylar can tell you that. But essentially, it really comes down to, one, picking that partner. Then 2 is understanding your measurement approach, locking that down at the beginning, and hopefully not trying to change that later on, because it could cause trouble and it could become a waste. And I would say the last one is just aligning on your KPI.
And when you were sort of vetting partners to work with, was there a sort of decision factor that was really important to you?
So yes, 2 things. Number 1 is my data team needs to approve of them and their data practices. I would say the other thing is just the efficiency in communication. In the world of TV and the way that you buy media, is very important to really have that clear line of communication, where you need to be talking to your media buyer daily, if not pretty much every other hour of the day. Like our media buyer at Tatari, Alex, who is phenomenal, will tell you, I talk to him from the moment I wake up to try to understand how the day is going to pace out to how the rest of the week is going to look like.
One other thing we've learned along the way here on attempting to not waste money, but unfortunately it requires testing to figure out if you're wasting money or not, is the balance of really efficient smaller networks versus bigger bets. So for us, that could be really, buying a much more expensive spot in sports programming or, a very popular other program. And some work for us, some haven't. And the faster we can learn what doesn't work, then that'll help us not waste money, as we move forward.
yeah, I guess what perceptions of TV did you have before that are different now after launching successful campaigns?
I thought you had to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to launch a successful TV campaign, and I found that you don't. Companies like Tatari are out there finding ways of making that analytics portion turnkey. So I appreciate Junior validating it with data science. I've done that once actually with Tatari before in a previous run with them. And what I'm finding pretty consistently is that you can rely on their version of the analytics portion without having to build it in-house.
I think I would agree with that on the budget piece, just because we've gone haywire in the past thinking that, okay, we should dive into TV, spending millions of dollars a month, and that didn't work. I think that when it comes to TV, my perception was that you really needed to invest in this high reach, popular networks and whatnot. And what I've come to find out is that you really don't. I'd rather have 50 or 90 little networks that are hitting my KPI than have one or two big reach networks that are performing subpar. And that's the one thing that I learned with Tatari, right? And we have about 2 weeks left in our pilot with Tatari right now. We have tested almost 100 networks at a fraction of the spend level that we've tested in our first run and almost at the same spend level that we tested in our second run. So that is something that I was not expecting, and I'm extremely happy with.
The ability to target the right audiences through testing and optimization. I think just the level of ability to do that is beyond what I thought going into it. Just like much like Junior just said, I mean, there are a lot of networks that I just wouldn't have considered without Tatari's help. And it's like, these are great wins and pockets of success for us that are more valuable to us than trying to overspend on some larger placement potentially.